So today you have thousands of households that you've insured, thousands of clients. It's just amazing how you've grown the business. What do you think it was, Ezra, about the way you ran your business that made it so successful?
Two things, Mark. One is integrity, knowing the policy language as a claims person really helped me to go and tell people honestly what is covered, what's not, and to make sure that I sell needs based on needs basis rather than based on my own gain. If they don't need it, they don't need it. So that
Hmm.
honesty and integrity was number one. And number two was my manager asked me to join Rotary initially, and he said, "Well, you're joining Rotary not to build your business, but Rotary would help you. At the same time, we will introduce you with the business leaders in the area to make sure that you provide the service and also you give back to the community." And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's interesting." And giving back is something that I have always learned from my father in terms of, you stretch out as much as you can, you help others, you help your siblings. So that kind of program with Rotary was something that I appreciated, and it's within my value to make sure that it I provide the service. And as it turned out, Rotary helped me as much as I'm helping Rotary. So it was a good fit.
So this is 1982. You joined the Rotary Club of the
Yeah,
University
yeah,
District. There are about
yeah.
50 clubs, 50 Rotary clubs in the Seattle area. And for people not familiar with Rotary, it's a service organization that kind of started as a business networking group way back in the day. But Seattle area clubs really started to focus on service back in the day. And I don't think a lot of people know, Ezra, that polio is just about gone as a disease worldwide today because in the 1970s, Rotarians really started to roll up their sleeves and deliver vaccine all over the world to third world countries where polio was, killing and crippling hundreds of thousands of people a year. How did you
Yeah.
first get involved in polio eradication, Ezra? Because your home country of Ethiopia was one of those countries that really struggled with it over the decades.
Yeah, it's once I joined Rotary, Mark. Obviously, as you know, Rotary focuses on international, local, national, and locally we've done a lot of work. We established a Rotary First Harvest where we're feeding the needy. At the same time, in 1997, I was elected to be my club's president. And interestingly, the president of Rotary, usually they focus on health, education, homelessness, and they usually have places where they go and do international meetings to focus on areas. So that year, the focus was on child soldiers in Africa, where kids as young as 12, 13 used to carry guns and just go and shoot and kill. So the Rotary national president by the name Glenn Kinross felt we will need to have a conference in Africa, bring in a lot of Rotarians and talk about peace, how we could help promote peace in Africa. So when I saw that, I said, "Oh my gosh, going back as a Rotarian to Ethiopia, that really was great for me." So I signed up. I went and met several of the Rotarians in Ethiopia. And one of the things they have us do is to go and do a national immunization where you go from village to village, hut to hut, give 2 drops of polio to children. So at that time, I went to this village with about 6 people. There were 3 of them white folks, a couple of people from Botswana and Africa and Namibia. So when I got there, this gentleman had child about, I would say about 6 or 7, about the same age as my daughter. And he was waiting for us with this daughter. And he said, "Sir, please please give the medication to my daughter and heal my daughter. So as I touched her legs, it was like stick-like. I mean, it was bone only and no movement. I said, sir, I'm sorry. There's nothing we could do once you got this. Nobody could reverse it. And he appreciated that we're there to save other children. And it hits me. I said, that could be my own daughter. And for the lack of 2 drops, she's going to be permanently paralyzed. At the same time, when I look at the future of that child, Mark, there's only one job. She would be begging in the streets of Addis Ababa. They can't move, they're crawling. So I said, nobody's child should deserve this kind of treatment. And I told the Rotarians, I said, we need to wipe polio from Ethiopia and furthermore from Africa. And I will come back every year with my friends to participate with you guys to give those 2 drops. So the next year I went with about 8 people. And after that, it was 10, 20. And Ralph Monroe, who is a friend of yours and mine.
Yeah, former Secretary of State.
Yeah. He really said, I want to help you because his mom had polio and Ralph was committed to wipe polio. And then every year we go and we just fan out to the different parts of Ethiopia and vaccinate thousands and thousands of children. And that's how I started. And when I started, we're about almost a third of Africa has polio, but slowly every one of them declared to be polio free, including Ethiopia. When I started, Ethiopia had polio. And then we almost got it to certification, and then it would go back and more virus would be found. So eventually, now, the last country that really wiped polio is Nigeria, which is about 3-4 years ago. Polio is pretty much gone from the continent. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm glad to be part of that team to provide help to Ethiopia and the East African bloc.
Ezra, I'm guessing that having you in those delegations, speaking the language, knowing the culture, was a great help, because I think, for good reason, there's sometimes some suspicion, some superstitions when Western folks go to Africa to try to solve problems and help with things like polio and malaria and things like that. Were you welcomed in the villages? Was it pretty well known that these foreign delegations were there to help? And or what was that like in terms of just winning over the local populations there?
The Ministry of Health does a wonderful job, along with the Rotarians, to broadcast that vaccination will be done from this date to this date. Make sure driving children home, vaccinators will be coming. So the town criers would go all over the villages. The radio would be announcing it. So when we come, we would join the health workers. 1 or 2 health workers would come with us and go door to door. And the jubilation, Mark, it's just amazing. In fact, in some of the station, and there are 2 ways to vaccinate. One is you go door to door. The other one is you go to the health center, and the health center, you find people bringing their children. And when they see some of these white folks, kids would just bring kids, and they carry their sisters, brothers, and in fact, some of them would give something. Like we went to Eastern Ethiopia one time, and there's this stimulants leaf called cat. So the people freshly cut cat and gave it as a bouquet to the Rotarians, thanking them for coming to save their children. So
Wow.
It's people will do anything. They want to invite you to come inside their house, and if they got 1 can of soda, they want to offer that to you. So we are very, very welcome within the villages, and part of it too, Mark, is we look for other things while in the village. Water, for example, if a village doesn't have water, we talk to the local Rotarians and say, how can we bring water to this village? And what can we do? And then we come up with a water project. As a result, we did, the last count was about 78 or 80 villages that we put water.